The stress of changes and efforts to keep everyone safe are adding extra tension to the workday. We're getting some advice from Philippe Weiss on how to handle some conflicts that may pop up from frayed nerves and clashing viewpoints. Philippe Weiss is the president of the firm Seyfarth at Work. He says this can happen whether you're going into the office every day or working from home. Hi, Philippe.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Of course, we're glad to have you. You know, we've seen how polarizing things can be during the pandemic, and that's when people were stuck at home for the last 3, 4, 5 months. Folks are getting ready to head into the workplace. How do we minimize the tensions that may bleed into your office?
Yeah, there's a lot of ways to approach the conflicts that we're seeing across workplaces, and there's no question that the office has sort of become ground zero for a lot of these employee conflicts related to COVID. So on the one hand, you want to sort of think proactively as a company. And on the other hand, you want to think about your position if you're an employee. What can you say and what can you do to avoid or handle these moments of stress with others? We're seeing conflicts and flashpoints in a few key areas. One is what we might call careless masking conflicts. This is a situation where employees come to work wearing the mask a little too low, maybe it's the chin strap look, or not at all, and therefore angering colleagues and coworkers who are being somewhat more careful. Another critical flashpoint that we're seeing relates to what we would call close contact conflicts. That's employees encroaching well into each other's 6-foot COVID safety zone, so to speak, and that's led to many disputes and many disagreements. So we're seeing this happen across workplaces, and we know that employees are really looking for solutions.
They are. And Philippe, let me hit you right there. This is a lesson in diplomacy, is it not? Is there a gentle way to do this without really letting it becoming a conflict? Just a gentle reminder. What are your recommendations on that front?
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head, so to speak. On the one hand, companies have to be clear that we have rules. The rules are important to follow, but we don't always see that. So employees have got to think about this strategically. And on the one hand, as you said, it's about employing what we would call positive peer pressure. What that means is avoid the inclination or the instinct to be preaching to somebody or scolding someone, because you hope to work with these people long after COVID is behind us, assuming we're appreciate that moment. So arm yourself in advance with the kind of statements, the kind of responses that you can use, because you can expect someone may not be wearing the mask properly or may not be giving you enough distance. We worked, for example, with a graphics company, and we helped their employees brainstorm what could they say to someone who's getting too close to them that's non-confrontational, that's positive. And they came up with the following statement. It was, hey, let's step back. We're in the hot zone together, which was delivered with a smile, received in the right way, and really produced this diffusion of tension as well as distance. So avoid pushing people, but find a way to be positive and non-confrontational.
So walking around with a yardstick and keeping people 6 feet away, that's not the right way to go? A little too obvious?
Right. And some people do think that 6 feet away is basically wherever I like to stand. Yeah. So they will need positive reinforcement. They will need the reminders, but that's absolutely right. And the same thing applies with something like masking. We worked with a company that actually was in the video game business. And so a bunch of Star Trek fans worked at this place, and we helped them come up with their own masking mantra, which was basically simply put, shields up, which meant put up the mask, cover the mouth, cover the nose, etc. And even the state of Illinois, as many of your viewers may know, have come up with a statewide mantra that can be used comfortably, which is the mask only works if you actually wear it. So there's a lot of opportunities to be positive, but also to be clear.
I tell my kids just to mask up. Sometimes they listen, sometimes they don't, but they're pretty good, those young ones. Let's hit this other one, too. I thought this was interesting. In the workplace, you might find yourself among, in a pod situation or otherwise, these constant cleaners. That in itself can create its own tension, can it not?
Absolutely. And that goes to really the escalation risk, because we've seen people who are basically bringing their own spray cleaner to work and spraying everywhere all the time in an effort to protect themselves. But in doing so, they've begun to aggravate others who are having coughing fits and other issues with the aromatic assault. It's really interesting because employees feel that they should take matters into their own hands, whether it's spraying too much or whether it's, in some cases, putting up barriers. We've seen employees put up do not enter signs right outside the workspace, or string up post-it barriers so people don't come too close. Employees are yearning for something better because that's going to lead in the wrong direction.
It's for sure. And when you need to, I suppose, you get the bosses involved if you need to, but perhaps that's the last resort. Try and handle it gently when you can.
Absolutely.
All right. Philippe Weiss with Seyfarth at Work. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
You bet. For more information, you can check out social media or seyfarthatwork.com. We'll be right back.